Welcome to the online platform Education Unlimited as we continue our search into algebra. Today we'll be looking at three CXC past paper questions on factorization. I hope that you will enjoy this presentation. Thank you very much. Let us do a quick analysis of 3 years past paper questions on factorization. In 216, the first part of the question was about the difference of two squares. In 218, the first part of the question was also a difference of two squares. And last year in 2022, the first part of the question was to factorize a quadratic expression. And so as we look back at 2016, the second part was to factorize a quadratic expression. And for 218, the second part was to factorize by grouping. For last year, though, the second part of the factorization question was technically after we had factorized the quadratic expression, we were to solve for x. These are the three questions that we will look at right now in detail. Here's our first question, taken from the CXC May-June 2016. It's a difference of two squares, and the question reads, factorize completely. 4a squared minus 16. The first thing that we will do is to find the square root of 4a squared and to find the square root of 16. So the square root of 4a squared is simple. It is 2a. And the square root of 16 is 4. But let us remember now that the difference of two squares as one set of the brackets with a x value plus a y value, and the other set of bracket as a x value minus a y value. So when we find the square root of 4a squared, the answer is 2a, and we find the square root of 16, the answer is 4. So one side of the factorization would read open bracket 2a plus 4 close bracket, and the other side would read open bracket 2a minus 4 close bracket. From the previous presentation on factorization, here we see an application, how we can apply these concepts in the past paper. Very simple. The second part of the factorization question in 2016 is factoring quadratics. And it reads 3y squared plus 2y minus 8. And so the key to factoring this expression is to utilize the AC method. The AC method is to multiply A in the expression by C in the expression from the format y is equal to ax squared. Let us write the format here. Y is equal to ax squared. This is a recap, plus bx plus c. So that in this expression, A is represented by 3, B is represented by 2, and C is represented by 8. So the AC method involves multiplying A by C, so we will multiply 3 by 8 get an answer of 24. The next step is to find the factors of 24. So the factors of 24 are 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 2 and 12, let's get this right, 2 and 12, here we go, and of course the other two factors of 24 are 1 and 24. The next step is to find which two factors of 24, when we add or subtract, for that matter, we will get an answer of 2. So these two factors are 4 and 6. So that 6 minus 4 gives us 2. So the second line in the expression would read 3y squared plus 6y minus 4y minus 8. Here we see that 3y is a common factor in this side of the expression, so that 3y into 3y squared gives us y. Let us use another color. Also, 3y into 6y gives us 2. Again, anything that's here in this bracket, y plus 2, must also be in this bracket. It should also read y plus 2 for this quadratic expression to be factorized properly. And so we divide y into minus 4y gives us minus 4, and 2 into negative 8 gives us negative 4. And so we end up with two factors, one being 3y minus 4 and the other factor being y plus 2. 3y minus 4 and y plus 2. Hence, this expression has been factorized completely. CSEC, May-June 2018. This first question on factorization reads, factorize completely each of the following expressions. This question is a difference of two squares, and the expression is 1 minus 4h squared. So the key to factor in this expression is to find the square root of 1 and to find the square root of 4h squared. Very good. So we will utilize the format. Let's open the bracket. This is the format that we'll utilize. So one of the factors must be a plus b, and the other factor must be a minus b. In that, these two are the format of the solution. Okay, Previously, we could still use this format. One could be x plus y, and the other could be x minus y. So the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4h squared is 2h. So that one factor would read 1 plus 2h, and the other factor would read 1 minus 2h, following the format of x plus y and x minus y, or it's the same format as a plus b and a minus b. So this is very simple. CXC normally assigns 1 mark to this type of question. It is an application question, and it's also a knowledge base type of question. Very simple question. Difference of two squares as we move on. The second part of the question in 2018 is a factoring by grouping. And the question reads, PQ minus Q squared minus 3P plus 3Q. And so we will pull the like terms. This part of the expression as a common term of Q is common, and this part of the expression as a common term of 3, so that we will now divide. We put Q outside of the bracket and we divide Q into PQ to get an answer of P, and then we divide also Q, let us use another color, Q into minus Q squared to give us minus Q. Then anything that's in this bracket here, P minus Q, must also be in this bracket here, P minus Q, for this expression to be factorized properly. This time, we will divide by using P and minus Q because they are in the brackets on this side of the new part of the expression. So P into minus 3P gives us minus 3. And then minus Q into plus 3Q gives us minus 3. So that one side of the expression would read Q minus 3, and the other side of the expression would read P minus Q. Q minus 3 and P minus Q. We have solved, or rather factorized, this expression by grouping. CXC, May-June 2022. This question was last year. Factorize completely the following quadratic expression. This is factoring quadratics. The question is 5x squared minus 9x plus 4. So the key to factoring this expression is to multiply 5 by 4, which is using the AC method. AC method. Let us go. 5 multiplied by 4 would give us an answer of 20. The next step is to find or list the factors of 20, which would have been 5 and 4, 2 and 10, and of course 1 and 20. So the next step is to find out which two factors of 20, when we add or subtract, we'll get the middle term of minus 9. These two factors are, of course, 5 and 4, because minus 5 minus 4 gives us minus 9. Notice that we write the expression 5x squared minus 5x minus 4x plus 4 in this format, where the 5x squared is beside the minus 5x and the minus 4x is beside the plus 4. It is now easier to factorize because 5x is a factor of the first part of the expression and minus 4 is a factor of the second part of the expression. So now let us divide. So we divide 5x into 5x squared to get an answer of x. And then we divide 5x into minus 5x to get an answer of minus 1. So anything that is in this bracket here of x minus 1 must also be in the other bracket over here of x minus 1 for the expression to be factorized properly. We now divide by dividing x into minus 4x to get an answer of minus 4, and minus 1 into positive 4 to get an answer of negative 4. So that we will have two sets of expressions, two factors of 5x minus 4, this is one factor, and the other factor would be x minus 1. Factoring quadratics using the AC method. We realize that this type of factorization is common in most CXC past paper questions. We've come to the final question for this presentation, the part 2 of CXC May-June 2022 factorization. As a matter of fact, this is a follow-up from the previous question that was a factorization. This one now is to solve for x. And it reads, hence, solve the following equation. We know that 5x squared minus 9x plus 4 was an expression in the previous question. In this question, it is now an equation because it's equated to 0. And so most of the time, examiners utilize answers, or they're expecting for the student to utilize answers or an answer from a previous question in a preceding question. So the factors of 5x squared minus 9x plus 4 were 5x minus 4 and x minus 1. So we equate these two factors to 0 and we solve them one by one. The first one that says 5x minus 4 is equal to 0, we remove the brackets to get 5x is equal to 4 as we carry over the negative 4 over the equal sign, so it becomes a positive 4. Let us write it here. 5x is equal to positive 4, then anything that's done to one side of the equation, we must do it to the other side. So to find x, we'll divide both sides by 5. So we cancel. And so we get an answer of x is equal to 4 over 5 for one value of x. The other value of x is very simple. X minus 1 over here is equal to 0. So we carry the minus 1 over the equal sign, so it becomes a positive 1. So the answers are x is equal to 4 over 5. Let us utilize the cursor. X is equal to 4 over 5 and x is equal to 1. We have now solved this equation. Application here of the concepts that we had learned in factorization, looking at the CSEC past paper questions for 3 years. Very good. We had a lot of fun in this presentation.